Thank you all for your time. I'm really excited to be here. And without any further ado, I will jump right into a little crash course on PrentaLux and the 3D printing manufacturing method. So it truly is remarkable just how far the 3D printing technology has come. And I'm sure we've seen online houses being printed, boats, and this is a perfect manufacturing style for 3D printing. You're going to see it in a lot more areas now too. Just to give you some perspective on how much focus is on this in the lighting industry is when I started, there was about 27 companies doing 3D printed lighting. Now there's over 400. What's really nice though is that what we're doing here at Cooper and PrentaLux is cumulatively we are doing uh, more than all the rest of the competition. You're going to see that in the breadth of the portfolio that we offer here. And what's really important too to note is there are key differentiators to this manufacturing style, which we'll cover here today. But because of those benefits, you're not just going to see this in PrentaLux. You're going to see this in other areas of our business as well, utilizing the 3D printing for components and whatnot. And really, this might sound grandiose, but this is a big shift in manufacturing. You're traditionally manufacturing offshore, shipping components somewhere else, and then shipping to an end location. For 3D printing, we're printing and assembling in the regions that they serve. And there's a bunch of reasons behind that, and we'll dig more into that as we go here. What we're going to cover here today is what I like to call the 4 pillars, our foundational pillars. And I'm really going to focus on personalization, sustainability, and reliability, but I think it's very important to note performance and emphasize performance because when you're talking about delivering a high quality light, and at the end of the day, this is a 3D printed light fixture that's sustainable, you need to ensure that it's got high efficacy. It's got best in class lifetime so that you avoid too much turnover. And of course, with that, the 3D printing, when I say 3D printing, I'm talking about the outer housing as well as some of the inner components. And we'll cover why those inner components are being 3D printed and the benefits there. Next, we'll go on to personalization or customization. So there's 2 avenues I'll cover today. We've got our online configurator, which is somewhere where you can choose different colors, textures, and that will produce the product code. What's really nice there, no minimum order quantities. You want a sage green cylinder with our facet texture, you could design one, order one, and it's that same competitive price that you would get ordering volume. Second avenue is a custom design route. So we will look at the different levels of complexity in custom design and then kind of what the thresholds are in order to meet those. And then sustainability, we'll look at the front end, what materials we're using, back end, end of life recycling story, and then reliability. I'll cover where we're manufacturing, how we're manufacturing, what components we're using, and how we're able to keep this a print on demand and highly agile manufacturing to ensure that lead times are at the lowest level. So I'd mentioned that PrentaLux is a 3D printed brand, but you're going to see this, and you already see it in some of the other categories because of the benefits of 3D printing, and we're going to continue to utilize this manufacturing method in other areas as well. Now, I'll cover personalization. This is the first avenue you've got with design. What's nice here, and this is going to be 99% of your projects, no minimum order quantities. This is a public access design tool that you can hop in. And as you see in the image here, you can choose different shapes, sizes of shapes. There's over 1 million different design options that you've got on the configurator. Go through, choose your CRI, color temperature, lumen packages, frosted, clear lens, all the different colors, textures. We've got 10 standard colors and 12 plus on-demand colors. So there's an abundance of options there. It's 2 weeks to get a prototype or 4 to 6 weeks for production. If you do need something expedited, that is completely possible, and we're happy to facilitate when you've got urgent needs. So again, this is going to be majority of your design. You're going to have over 20 different series that you can choose from, and then you hop into a window here where you'll be able to really hone in on the design that you're looking for as well. On this page, say you're choosing the 205 series or 200 series, you'll notice that at the bottom in the download section, you're going to have IES files for every different combination. You're going to have Revit files. So we've made it as user-friendly as possible. Some key segments that we're covering, it's really anything indoor commercial, you name it. Hospitality, retail, office, and we're breaking into multifamily residential. And just to show you a couple different designs that you can go for, and this is really cool. And this is all stuff that you can do on our online configurators. You start to play with translucent inner and opaque, or a translucent outer and an opaque inner to give it this lantern effect. This is one of our 300 series here. Within the configurator, you've got the same colors and textures across different series, so you can match them to create a cohesive design in your space. This is our new cylinder series, which is really exciting. And, a lot of what we're seeing out there is limiting options and choosing out of a catalog. And we're trying to break the barriers of this and offer you design freedom, bringing back the options. So you've got a whole bunch of colors, and I love this texture here because it really does break away from the limits that you've got in using other materials and getting a fine texture like that. There's also, as you can see here, we've got track heads through Halo. You've got some low bay options here. So we've got both integrated as well as socket-based products. Retail and grocery has been a big target for us because of the efficacy that you've got and the reliability, the ease of installs. Because some of this product is everything is under 10 pounds. So you really do get a total cost solution when you're working with this product. Office has been a big focus for us as well. Now, I'll move over to the second avenue for design, which is personalization, number 2. And we've got 3 different levels to this. And the first level is custom textures or logos. So what you're seeing here is you can put a texture or logo on any printed surface area. So you see the inner reflector here. This was done in an airport lounge where we're able to incorporate airplanes on the inside. We've even done cats and dogs for a pet chain store. And then the image on the right here, you're seeing some standard textures now, but they actually started out as a custom or an ETO project for us. You see crushed glass, or we've got our woven oval, which is like a basket weave. So it's actually got small holes so you can see the light bleeding through. So it really is, there's tons of options with the textures, and you don't have to think of a simple pattern. You can really, if you can see it, you can imagine it. It's typically possible with what we can put in terms of textures. I've even put my face on one of our shades, whether you like that or not. And minimum order quantity here is 25 units. If you've got a project where you have 5 units, we can spread the design cost across there. It's not perfectly black and white, but we really do want to work with you to achieve the look that you're going for. Level 2 is modifying a standard offering. So this is taking something that's on our configurator and modifying it slightly. So it's changing the diameter, increasing the height. It's more of those aesthetic changes. And here you're looking at a minimum order quantity of 100 units. And what's nice here is just the level of change. And if you've got an exact vision of what you want in your space, as you can see here, there's a couple different concepts that we went through and ended up transitioning the shadow, the light engine into the rest of the shade in kind of a smoother, more seamless way, and that achieved the light effect that they were looking for. And then lastly, you move on to dual development. This is a brand new light fixture, so you can really see the details that we can get into with the Ferrero Rocher or a pickleball here, and this is a brand new light fixture. So this is going to add some timeline. It's not just a simple modification. Typically, you'll have to go through the UL application process. And if you've ever got a question on any of these, and looking for something outside of the configurator, please reach out to Max2, and we will be sure to manage expectations up front. Moving on to sustainability. And here I'm going to cover the front end and the back end. Now, I'll start with the back end, and that's the end of life story and recycling. We design all of the product so that it's easier to take apart. There's less components. On average, it's 40% less components than a traditionally manufactured unit. We're not using glue, a lot less screws. We're not painting any of the products. So the material that we use is color core. And that kind of helps if, during installation, if there's ever a scratch or anything, you're going to have the same color underneath. So it's difficult to see. But we're designing these so that it's more feasible to recycle it. We do have a waste management partner that can take these back. There is a cost to recycling it, but we do have that option there. They'll give you a receipt for recycling the product, and then that will typically go into food trays or outdoor playground mats, that type of thing. And I think that it's important to note too is it's not the perfect solution. We really are working on creating a better program where it's easier to recycle. So that is something that we are piloting right now as a take back program. It's not in yet, but it is something that we're working on to allow easier recycling. Now, because of the state of kind of where the infrastructure is at in terms of recycling, we're also really focused on the front end in terms of what materials we're using. So we're using 65% recycled content or mass balanced biocircular. So this is a combination of recycled content as well as regular polycarbonate. Everything is UV stabilized. It's our own proprietary mixture that is ready for any kind of commercial use and is durable enough for that. Now, what's really cool is we're not just satisfied with 65% recycled content. We are constantly trying to improve that. So sometime this year, we will be able to move up to 75% recycled content. And we're also playing around with different materials like a recycled water jug to offer 100% recycled materials. And those are kind of special limited edition series that we can do. Along with the materials that we're using, we need to ensure that we've got third-party certification. So we've got, really proud to say that we've got Declare labels and we've got LBC Red List approved for all of our product, as well as we're working on environmental product declarations. And that is our continued commitment to producing a sustainable luminaire. Now I'll move on to performance, because at the end of the day, this is a 3D printed light fixture, so it needs to be able to cover all the performance that you need for your projects as well. So when I say 3D printed, it's that outer housing as well as some of the inner components, and you can trust Cooper for utilizing the high grade engines that we do have. So I love to boast about the cylinder as well as the track head. The track head's got DLC Premium 5.1 as well as Declare label. It's got efficacy up to 110 lumens per watt, and L90B50 is 65,000 hours for lifetime. So we really are focused on creating products that save electricity as well as have long lifetimes, so that there's less turnover and less waste. And I'll just touch quickly too on the install. Working with the material, because it's a polycarbonate and typically you're going to have a bit of a texture on there, there's no kind of fingerprints when you're done installing. I know when you can work with a matte black metal finish, that can be an issue, as well as we've heard, because of the lightweight of the product, it's been much easier to install, especially when you get into the low base and the high base. And then lastly, reliability. So the whole idea around 3D printing is that we are printing and assembling in the regions that we serve. So I love to use this example too, is when we put these together, and this was done on a more for the sustainability aspect, is we were trying to print more of the components using the polycarbonate, because the polycarbonate is recycled content as well as it's fully recyclable. So an example is one of our low bay products has 16 components. 9 of the 16 components are 3D printed. Originally done to cut down on carbon emissions in terms of offshore components coming in. But a hidden benefit of that as well is we've maintained a lot more of that supply chain control, because everything is print on demand. We're not holding any inventories that can become obsolete. And because of that, we're able to keep those lead times low. And in terms of next steps, I would love to hear if anyone has got any questions, but I really wanted to thank you for your time, and we'll be sure to to share a URL to the design tool afterwards as well.
David, thank you very much. Now, while you were going, I was kind of playing around with the configurator because I hadn't seen that it had been updated to actually do automated renderings, which I thought was incredible because this is such a visual product. And when you're working with designers, they want to understand like what that color looks like with the texture and kind of see a bit of a mock-up ahead of time. And I found that to be like really kind of inspiring, which I liked. There was one question that came in.
Yeah.
Traditional light fixtures are made out of metal. These are made out of like a polycarb plastic. How does the plastic react to the heat, or
Yeah,
how does it pull away?
great question. So everything that is produced out of our factories is UL CUL. Now, one difficulty with when traditionally using 3D printing is some of the materials are not as resistant to heat. We have our specific polycarbonate that you're able to put integrated products together. So with the LED engine intact, traditionally that is a challenge, but that's something that we've been able to overcome with our polycarbonate. So that's why we've got a full range of product that goes from 500 lumens right up to a 36,000 lumen high bay. So that has been, because of the design and the material that we use, a problem that is now in the past for us. Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. That was our only question, man. Great job today. Thank you for doing this, Dave. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone.